Good evening. Welcome to tonight's Freedom Thinking Community Group. The date is the 15th of December. 10 days. 10 days till Christmas. We were just having a bit of a whinge, me and Dan, just before, just saying, like, I love the meeting up, I love all that bit, but it's all got a little bit silly in terms of materialism and money spending. And I don't know. I believe it was about the birth of a man who kind of changed the course of humanity, whether you like it or not. He changed the course of humanity, and yeah, I think we've lost that point. But anyway, welcome. That's just my opinion. Let's start with one of Dave's opinions. Welcome. Um, Jen has been doing a talk in London, and she's on her way home. She's been accident on the M11. She'll have to put Lucia to bed when we get home. I'm guessing she'd already be asleep. Um, So hopefully we'll have Jen. I can't guarantee it. So yeah, just a couple of bit of housekeeping. Still got, I think it's one place. We've got one male place, I believe, on the retreat in Suffolk. I think that's right. Jen's not here to quantify that, but I'll qualify it. But I think that's correct. So at the moment, I think there's a couple of people who said they're coming, but we haven't got deposits. So we're taking deposits to assure us that, yeah, people are serious, because people often say, I'm coming, and then you reserve them a place and it gets to a couple of weeks and they're going, no, no, we can't make it. So we're taking deposits. We're having to do things a little bit differently just to protect ourselves, really, so we don't lose money. Um, yeah, thank you for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment. You have to bear with me tonight. I'm really tired. I've just been saying I've been doing my tree work today. I've been helping a friend out with the most beautiful cedar tree, most magnificent thing. Absolutely outstanding tree. So I've been all around the whole thing, the whole perimeter of the crown, and yeah, I'm not match fit. So I'm not as strong as I used to be. I don't do it every day, but it's been a real privilege today to do such a wonderful tree. And I've literally run in from work, got showered, got a cup of tea, and come and sat down and done this. So you're gonna have to bear with me. I haven't had me evening meal, my dinner, as we call it in the north, or my tea. It's another thing we call it. Not my tea. So yeah, woe is me. God bless me. Right. I have received a message, and it's a topic which somebody would like to explore. I quite like it. I think it's a cool one. It sets off on one topic, but then I feel like the next part of it is perhaps the deeper point to explore. I'm tired of my work, but I need money as I have a son, house, mortgage, car, fuel, taxes to pay. We need money. How do I trust the life process? I can't just quit my job because without it, there is no security. I'm tired of my work and I need money as I have a son, etc. How do I trust in the life process? I can't just quit my job without any security. It's a cool question. Don't really know where to start, but the first thing that comes to me is, in all honesty, I would say that this isn't this isn't me advertising what anybody should do. This isn't me giving like financial advice. Don't come to me for financial advice. Some of the most peaceful people I've ever met in my life have been homeless. some of the most happy people I've ever come across in my life have been homeless. I remember I was walking through my town of Kendal and I saw this man. I was with my friend Abby, and as we were walking through town, we saw these two blokes laughing their heads off. One of them had a bottle of orange juice, so they clearly weren't drunk, and the other one had a cup of tea. But they had this t-shirt saying "Tramp on tour." And I mean, when you see a couple of people like that and you see them with t-shirts saying "Tramps on tour," you stop and speak to them. Well, I do. I speak to everybody. And I stopped and spoke to these fellas, and I said, what are you doing, lads?" And they're like, "We're walking from Land's End to John O'Groats." "Why are you doing that?" "We're homeless." So we said, "We might as well be homeless from Land's End to John O'Groats. What have we got to lose?" So they'd walked, must have been 400 miles by that point, maybe 450 miles up to the, because where Kendal is in the Lake District, it is pretty much, if you to draw a cross between Great Britain along down the line of from the most southerly point to the most northerly point of Great Britain, the Lake District, and particularly Kendal, some people say Windermere, it's within about 8 miles of the centre point of um, of Great Britain. And yeah, so they'd walked half the distance of Great Britain. But these two fellas, sorry, just bear with me. Dan, I owe you an apology. My apologies. I'll give you a shout in a bit. Thanks for joining, dude. Um, cheers, buddy. Yeah, and we chatted away to these fellas, and they were lovely, such lovely fellas. Had great crack. And then as we walked away, I said to my friend Abby, I said, "Right, Abs, our mission is we need to see if we can see two people walking down the street who are as close to being as happy as those two people." And we walked and we walked and we walked, and not nobody came close to it. They had nothing. They had the boots on their feet, they had a cup of tea, a couple of filthy t-shirts and some trousers, but they had all the security that they needed. I'm also reminded of a man out in Nepal. When I first went out to Nepal with Jen and Rudy at the time, I went around all the local outdoor shops because where I'm in the Lake District, all the main kind of headquarters of North Face, Merrell, Montane, Haglofs, Columbia, um, Mountain Hardware, um, like massive outdoor brands. All the headquarters are in my village. Valravn, Primus, Adidas, Terex, all the big outdoor companies are based in my village. And so I went round each one and I said, "Look, I'm going out to Nepal. Have you got any samples or anything you want to donate to the people? It's coming up monsoon." And I got a few bits and pieces. It was Merrell really who donated, in all honesty. A girl called Jilly. Thank you, Jilly. She was the one who predominantly donated, and yeah, beautiful, beautiful lady. Thank you for that, love. Um, but I carried around this bag of clothes when we got to Nepal, and I didn't know who to give it to. I mean, obviously, you're going into a village, and we're going into a country that only a few days before had had the most catastrophic earthquakes. And Kathmandu had been lifted up by a meter in altitude, and it had been carried down the valley 10 meters. So if you imagine the damage of picking up a city and carrying it down a valley, and not like on a nice ball bearing run smooth track, but geologically it threw it to pieces. And it was horrific when we got there, like watching them propping up the buildings and dismantling the buildings, and unbelievable. But on the last few days, we're out there for a month, and the last few days we went out to this village. Our friend Mahima took us out there, and When we got there, the whole village was gone. It was just utterly destroyed. The stupa had gone, buildings, people's houses had gone. People were living in like, if it was west, they would never be allowed to go into these buildings. I mean, literally the bottom part and one of them, it looked like this. The house kind of looked like that. The roof here, this was should have been supported, but it wasn't. In fact, the top floor was still hanging on. So it's kind of like that. And people were living in here. Like, so if you imagine the bottom floor of a house collapses, a two-story house, the bottom part collapses, but the top part stays intact to the roof. And so you've got this kind of overhang of roof and top floor that seems to defy gravity. But I saw it with my own eyes. I saw these schoolgirls come dancing out, holding hands, skipping over the mud in the whitest shirts I've ever seen in my life. They were going to school. Ibex. They were going to school. And those kids were skipping, they were laughing, they were singing, they were happy kids. They were beautiful, happy kids. That kind of blew me away a little bit. And I mean, I was very, very humbled on that trip. You know, you go there thinking you're going to help people, thinking you have an idea of what somebody kind of is going to be presenting, and you get there and it was nothing like what I thought. It was deeply humbling. It was a deeply humbling experience. I'm grateful for that. But I met this man and he was in this kind of bamboo structure with corrugated iron roof, which they'd temporarily built. And yeah, I got talking to him, and he was the only man in there. There was 15 beds, and the beds were made out of pallets, like shipping pallets, wooden latted things. And then each one had a like a mosquito net over it. And it was open to the elements on the sides. But I got talking to this man, and I'd carried around this bag of clothes for nearly a month. And I decided he's the man. He's who I want to give this to. There was a few £100 worth of stuff in there, and when the average wage in Nepal was $2 a day, you know, that's considerable wealth opportunity. So I gave this bag to this man, and he didn't even look at it. He just pushed it away. Said, "No, thank you." And I said, "Please have a look. You can take this to Tamil, and you can sell this to Westerners. It's real. It's not fake. It's real. It's worth a lot of money." And this man just stopped and he went, "No, please, please." And he put his hand on his heart and he said, "We have everything that we need. Thank you." Yeah, I remember walking out of that building and bursting into tears. Total trust in the life process, total security. I knew he was right. I knew he was right. He had everything he needed. He had nothing outside in the outside world, but he was at peace. And really, that's the thing that we're all looking for is peace. We're all just looking to feel comfortable in this world. We're all just looking to feel comfortable in our own skin. We're all looking for peace. We're all looking for connection. So I just wanted to start with that. You know, we've got so used to the idea of our security. And we're told, you know, your security lies in your wealth, your security lies in your property, your security lies in this, your security lies in that. That's a complete illusion. I know a man who lived in a shed. I used to work with him. He was retired, but he had to come back to work because all of his pension collapsed in 2008 when the banking crisis hit. He lost everything. He lost everything. He ended up living in a shed. All of his security vanished. That was how secure it was. One tiny bit of corruption from the banking system, and people are literally made homeless and living in sheds. There's nothing secure in that changes. You can't pin it down. You can't stop change from happening. You can't. Change is the natural order of everything. Everything changes. I was speaking to a lady last night. I ended up giving her some healing. And one of the things that I spoke to her about was she worries about everything. Everything. Everything's a problem. She has a million problems. And I spoke to her and I told her about a man who came and did a 4-day intensive with us. And on day 3 said, Dave, look, I've got all these problems I want to talk to you about. I like what you're sharing, but I want to talk to you about these problems. I was like, cool, let's do that. That's what you want to do. Let's do it. So, but I've got a question for you before we do. I just asked him, I said, what is a problem? Like, what really is it? And he just went really, really quiet. And after a few moments, he just came back with the answer. He said, it's a thought, isn't it? I said, yeah, it's a thought. It's a perspective of the mind. I said, so what we're helping you with here is potentially the answer to every single problem you ever face in your life. There is only actually one problem. There is only one source of problem on this entire planet, and it is the problem only exists in the mind. Now, it doesn't matter what the problem is. It's a perspective of the mind. You know, as one person's banking crash 2008, you know, really wasn't that much of a problem to the banks. They got bailed out. So all that money disappeared. And some people profited handsomely and some people didn't. But that man who didn't, he had a great time at work and we had a wonderful time together. And we fell in love with this fella, me and my mate Al, and we fell in love with this fella. And he was just awesome to spend time with. And we had such good times. You know, was it kind of as catastrophic as what it may have seemed when the man actually went on to have a really fun time, a nice life following it? Well, this lady last night had such little trust in the life process. So I asked her a question. This man lost her husband when he was 33. She's in her just coming up 50, I think. I know she's had some big life challenges. She's on her own now, and I think she's lonely. Very scared lady. Really nice lady. Very scared. I just asked her a question. I said, has everything always turned out to be shit? Has everything always gone to shit for you? And she said, yeah. I said, really? Has it? Look again. I said, look where you are. You sat here having a cup of tea with me. Real life going to shit, who knows? I said, but you're all right. This is the this is the leading edge of your life. This is the most up-to-date version of you. And yet you're okay. Nothing destroyed you. Nothing, nothing destroyed you. Not even the premature death of your husband. It never destroyed you. Had you noticed? Have you noticed that? And she again, she got quiet and she went, I suppose you're right. I said, because that's a good thing to become aware of. That's a really good thing to become aware of. And I ask people, I ask the person who sent us this message, I ask them to look back at their life. I'm guessing, because I'm talking to a human being, that they've faced challenge. They faced times when they never thought they could get through it. They faced times when they felt so derailed. And the reason why I'm guessing that is because it's what most human beings on earth experience throughout their lives, especially when they start knocking on a bit. Like me. We face challenge in this life. I remember one lady, I was deeply struggling with depression. And this lady came up to me and went, have you got over that silly little thing yet? You know, what looks like a silly little thing to one person can be catastrophic for another individual. Why? Because it's created from perspective, it's created from the way an individual thinks. But I invite everybody here to take a moment, reflect, notice. Notice how it didn't destroy you. You're here, right now, you're here. I know I look around the faces on the screen, I don't see anybody looking particularly upset. So at the most up-to-date version of you, the most leading edge of your most leading moment of your life, the now, here you are, and you're okay. None of it broke you. You see, I feel like there is a real gift in that. And in through becoming aware of that, it does allow us to develop faith. Faith in life, faith in ourselves. To the soul, faith is completely irrelevant. It's not even a thing. It's a nonsense conversation to the soul, to our truth, to our true being. It's an irrelevance. It doesn't need faith. It's eternal creator. It's completely whole all the time. But that really is who and what we actually are. Pretending to be this, whatever this is. The I am of life. the I amness of life. I don't know. I don't know about how you people should transition from one job to another. I'd always say that if if you don't enjoy what you do, change. Why not spend your life doing something you truly love? But I know that an awful lot of people are terrified to make that change. Why? Because they're bothered about security. But what if security wasn't outside? Then what? How would that change our lives if we discovered that security didn't lie outside of ourselves? It didn't lie in status, it didn't lie in zeros in a bank account, it didn't lie in bricks and mortar, it didn't lie in land, but it lay within our being. We can deal with everything that life brings us. We have proved that. What if that was true? What would you do? How would you spend your days? I don't know, but I know that if I love something, I will dedicate my time to it. And I don't mind dedicating my time to something I adore. In fact, I look forward to it. I love this work. I love my work. I've really been looking forward to the tree surgery work today as well. And I'm looking forward to it tomorrow. So when I go to work and I get paid, I I am climbing the most magnificent trees. I get to have a view that nobody else gets to see. I get to have an experience of, oof, you know, it's like tree surgery, right? It's fucking terrifying at times. Like today, I've been scared a couple of times, like going right out onto the edge of these limbs. It's a big cedar, so all big cedar. So you got this big round canopy, and you obviously tied in rope and harness, and your anchor point is like right over there at like I don't know what's that 20 degrees, and you're what 40, 60 that tree probably 60 foot out on a limb. Like the limbs are as big as trees, and it's scary. But if I fall, I'm not going to hit the ground. But I can think I am. I'm safe as long as I don't cut through my rope. If I fall, and given the height of the tree, if I fall, I'm not going to hit the ground. I might hit the trunk pretty hard, but I'm not going to hit the ground. I'm safe. But it doesn't stop me, my little mind going, oh, did you hear that little crack? Oh, careful. It doesn't stop that. And I've done it since 2021. No, 2001, my apologies. So with a gap in a few years, I've done it since I was 21 and I'm now 46. So, but I can still have that experience of feeling insecure, but I'm safe. The thing about life, if you think about it in timelines, think about it in timelines, and a timeline being paths, infinite paths leaving your feet right now, at your feet. You make a decision. Every single day we make decisions, and every single time we make a decision, we walk down another path. It comes with consequences. Some of these paths, consequences aren't particularly substantial. Some of them are pretty substantial. But our feet, we have all these infinite paths because there's no limit to what a human being can do. Decisions we can make, every single decision we make takes us on a slightly different path, presents for us a new opportunity in a future, opens up new futures. I could ring up my mate today and go, mate, I'm not coming in tomorrow. I can't come to work tomorrow. I could do that. And all of a sudden, I've got a whole new tomorrow available. I don't know what it would look like, but it would come with a consequence. I don't know what those consequences will be. But there are no wrong paths. There are no wrong paths. There are paths that are unkind. There are paths that I wouldn't want to walk down. There's no wrong paths. We can't get life wrong. I remember the day I realized that you cannot get life wrong. Why? Show you why. My life, your life, birth, death. I'm somewhere around here, I'm sure. I'm going to live to like 400 and something. I get that implant. Singularity. One. I'm not saying you only live once. I'm not saying that. But it's singularity. Life is singularity. Right and wrong, duality. Or many. The only way you could ever know if you were getting life right or wrong, and you don't have this privilege, is if you had the parallel lives running along where you could glance across and go, oh, in that life, I didn't do that. So yeah, I'm glad I stayed doing what I chose. Or you could look across and go, oh no, I made a far better decision in that other reality. You don't have that privilege. But what we do have is the gift of imagination to kind of, as we get older, we kind of go, I know if I put my hand in a boiling kettle, it hurts. I won't do that. We get to use our imagination and we get to connect to imagine, well, if I do that, what will the consequences be? We get to use a little bit of discernment. And the wiser we get, the more we kind of operate from that. But then the wiser we get again, the more we kind of just like let go. Like it's a bit of both in that respect. Bit of trusting. I don't mean put your hand in a kettle. Don't put your hand in a kettle. But what if we don't have to control everything? What if the greatest ride of our life is when we let go? Let go of the control. Let go of the idea of external security. Perhaps you may choose to fancy walking from Land's End to John O'Groats. Yeah, all right. Why not? What the hell have we got to lose? Let's do it. Perhaps you may rebuild your house. Start again. That got destroyed in an earthquake. Maybe you don't. I know my life got so much easier when I let go of control. Stop kind of control everything, controlling others, trying to anticipate the future. And I know my life got so much better when I started doing something I loved. Yeah, I took a big financial hit, massive. But do you know what the weirdest thing was? I felt richer. I felt wealthier. I actually felt wealthier because getting money, getting paid to do something I love was, oh, it was just wonderful. I wouldn't recommend quitting your job like that. I don't think that's a good idea. I once had a fella who, Doran, if you're ever watching, love you, dude. South Africa, my mate. I'll never forget him saying, I want to share, I want to share. I said, why aren't you sharing then? I smoke. You what? I smoke. Yeah, and then what? Well, I can't share the principles. I smoke. Why can't you share the principles? He's like, because I'm not living the perfect life. I said, mate, and this lad is profound. Doran is profound. His insight has been spectacular. But I remember saying to him, Doran, if I knew that you held the key to life, but you wouldn't share it with me because you smoked, I would have punched you in the face. And he was like, fair enough. And then he went through this dilemma. How do I transition into sharing this in South Africa? And I just remember saying, because he was getting so stressed out with it, I said, but yeah, but you sound like you kind of, it's this or that. I said, but what if it doesn't have to be this or that? Hey up, Lulu.
I'm just saying goodbye.
Bye, bye, bye. You all right?
Yeah, I've got to go and pack, so I need to go. So I've got to go to Bury and then go back to Mars.
Oh,
8 hours of
thanks for
driving.
seeing me.
It's okay.
Love you. See you later.
See you next week.
Thanks for driving. I said, it sounds like it either needs to be this or that. I said, and that is a big, it's scary, isn't it? Going from this job and security and everything like that, and all your contacts or whatever, and then suddenly going into something where you're having to start from scratch. I said, yeah, that sounds terrifying. I said, but it took me, what was it, 7 years to transition from tree surgery. Was it fit 5 years? No, 5 years, my apologies. 5 years to transition from tree surgery into doing this work, like where I felt like, right, now is the time to stop doing tree surgery. It was so interesting because the moment I stopped doing tree surgery and I made that conscious decision, right, tree surgery's over. This was 2017. Here I am climbing frigging trees. The moment I made that decision, work started piling in. I've noticed that play out in my life time and time and time and time again. when you make decisions in your life, the external reality lines up as well. So why am I back on trees? In all honesty, because I enjoy it. Because I'm working with a great group of lads, and I've missed having the lads crack getting in the van and talking bollocks with a group of idiots, and I've missed that. And I've missed doing something that I've spent a lot of time at and invested a lot of time, become good at. I'm good at it. And I really enjoy the physical aspect, and I love trees. I deeply love trees, and I really respect them. And I like to think that if I'm doing it, there haven't been a reduction or something like that by somebody who loves them. So yeah, stay open. It doesn't have to be this or that. But the fact that you've started to make a decision suggests to me that if that's truly what you want, things will start to move in a direction that you start walking down a path, you start walking down your timeline. But the thing about this path is it creates as you walk. I remember, forgive us, magic mushroom talk again. We're on magic mushrooms. And it was the same time I've spoken about before in the past. It was 2019. But as we were walking, Jenny just said, reality is created as we move. It's movement from within and movement outside. She said reality is being formed as we move. And I think that's true. It's like as we make our decisions within ourselves, we affect the greater reality. We're phenomenal beings who never get destroyed. Nothing breaks us. We can deal with all of it. We're always whole. We're invincible. We're fucking invincible. Not as a human being, but as a spiritual being, we are invincible. What are you going to play? What do you want to do? How are you going to do it? That's why you have the gift of mind. That's why you are mind. That's why you're here. Come and play. Come and face challenge. Get over the challenge. Learn, grow, realize. You generally find with each challenge you go through, you have two choices. You either become bitter and twisted, or you become more compassionate and loving, more humble. I don't know, most people I know, when they face challenges and hard times, they become more humble. They become more compassionate to the person that they had judgment about regarding that circumstance that they actually found themselves in the end. That's a beautiful thing. Does anybody want to share anything? Any questions, reflections, observations, opinions?
Hello.
Hey, yo, Div, how
Hi.
is? You right?
Uh, Thanks. I was just listening to what Jenny said that what was it about reality? Moving creates reality, or
Yeah, it's created as with movement as we move both internally and outside.
yes, a beautiful insight there, Jenny. Um, it was because a long time ago I read a book by Joseph Campbell. Uh, he wrote A Hero with a Thousand Faces, and that was the base for the Star Wars and all that. But he's done a lot of philosophical work, like interview, and he used to say, "Follow your bliss." And I think, and then he said there was a statement. I can't put it that correctly, but he did say, "Follow your bliss, and doors will open where you didn't even know there were doors." And I remember it made a profound impact on me, but I had no intention of following bliss because I was following my personal thinking, basically. So yeah, that's just something I thought of. Yeah.
When you say your personal thinking, Div, what do you actually mean by that?
I was enchanted by my own head.
No,
Uh,
because
and
your personal thinking can be anything. It, you know,
yeah, it got me here. I mean, it did get me here where I am right now. But the bliss innately, which for example, calling or work or something like that, what I was doing, which was marketing, strategy, find a lot of stuff where I had to drag, white knuckle it from the minute go and all that. I mean, yeah, versus my innate calling for what I loved, psychology, philosophy, reading, literature, narratives. It was, yeah, it was the total opposite of what I desired versus what my head told me to do. I don't know how to put it any other way. So
Gen Z.
I,
I noticed that. How are you doing?
I
Yeah.
What's been the theme of tonight so far?
Can you read that? I'm tired of my work and I need money as I have a son. How do I trust in the life process? I can't just quit my job without security. So we've spoken about security, spoken about how about bit about trust in the life process. Talked a bit about I don't know, it's a little bit about changing jobs, I don't know. And they've just mentioned what you just said.
mm,
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm late,
following
everybody.
following your bliss. I think it's a nice statement, isn't it? And I think it's what many of us are afraid to do. We are afraid to follow our hearts. You know, Jesus was asked, according to the book of Thomas, he was asked, how do you best serve God? Do you give alms to the church? Blah, blah, blah. And he said, no, you just do that you love. Love you, Louise. Thank you, love. He just said, no, you just do that you love. How do you best serve God? You serve God best by just doing that you love. But again, Jesus was a man who knew that God wasn't outside. Dan.
I think I've been in exactly the same position as what the person is that messaged. That I mean, I the only difference is that I don't have kids, but it was like 2 years ago I made the decision to go into partnership with one of my best friends who's self-employed.
I remember that.
Mm. And I'm still doing it now. Like, don't get me wrong. I've got 3.5 weeks to get my account submitted to HMRC. But it's I think when you have such a big decision to make, the only thing when I think back, the only thing that stopped me was myself. And I think it was more of the what ifs, the oh, what if it doesn't work out, or what if I don't have money to pay bills and things like that. But I think deep down, if you're confident in what you do and the decision that you make, it should be okay. I don't thinking back now, I wish I'd done it sooner. I wish I'd sort of just again, it was an experience in my life that I didn't do sooner because of thought and because of my own or what if I can't pay bills and what if it fails and all of that sort of stuff. But like, don't get me wrong, it is difficult, but I would never go back. I think it's improved my life dramatically.
Love that.
Yeah,
What if?
that's the biggest thing, isn't it? I
Friggin' hell. Like that question, those two words, the most paralyzing words. What if? Yeah, but what if it's not all going to turn to shit? Let's use them another way. What if it actually isn't all going to turn to shit? What if it actually could be absolutely fantastic? Like Dan is submitting his thing to HMRC 2 years later, which suggests to me he's still going, doing something he enjoys. I remember talking to you about it. I remember you making that transition. And here you are. You know, what if, what, why is it, right? Think about this logically. Why is it that human beings have such a tendency towards the negative, to everything going to shit? What's that about?
I don't know if I dare say I think it's trained.
Could be trained.
I think
Could
it's more of like a it's with every sort of aspect you hear in the world, you never ever get for every good review. So you can go on Google and go on any restaurant or any sort of shop, and like I always go to the negative reviews first to see how many they are. Then I'll go to the good ones and see. And I think I think that must be trained because like I just think to myself like I think you know when you open a magazine, you it's been proven that you look at the right side first. So say for example, say if back in the day, you know when you could put like cars in the back of newspapers and things like that.
Yeah.
So it would always be more expensive to advertise on the right-hand side of a newspaper than it would be on the left because it was that's where you go to start with. And I think it's exactly the same
You're
as
probably right.
reviews and stuff. I feel like that we're trained to sort of go to the negative first because that's what everyone's used to hearing about. Everyone
Yeah.
always has to listen to the shit that's given to them. But it's the same with two sides to every story. Like people will say, I got this meal from this restaurant and it was crap. But that doesn't necessarily mean that that one out of the thousands of customers that they've had, you never hear about the other 999 of them.
That's right.
I think that's the same.
It could well be. It could well be, man. It could be programming, a belief, and adopt kind of a belief, that societal belief. But I don't know. Who was I with yesterday? And we were saying,
Ish, man.
I can't remember. And I was saying, yeah, but what if it's all going to turn out great? Probably was. Yeah. But it's such an interesting thing because it's something I've really noticed in people, how many people are so quick to go to, this is all going to go to shit. You know, and that's why I ask people to look back at your own life, and you hear, this is it. This is all there is. Just this right here, right now. This is it. Sum total of all of it. Like, how bad has it actually got? You're listening to me. Fuck knows. It could be a real low point. It got so bad I had to listen to that Ellery fella. Then it got worse.
Say that though, that's prime example though. I think that's a prime example. Oh, it's so shit. I had to go to freedom thinking. But I did. That's my story. Like I felt like absolute shit, and I come with freedom thinking, and it just helps, doesn't it? Like it's just I think it's the narrative behind how you say something. I think it's just like I don't know. It reminds me of I don't know who it was, but I think it was a couple of weeks ago, and it was I think it was my business partner's wife. And we have like a group chat about it, and I said something, and she rang me, and she was like, are you being sarcastic, like in a sort of argumentative manner?" And I was like, "No, like I was simply asking a question, but it goes to the same as you can't tell how someone means something behind a phone, can you? And it's the same, like it's it's so easy to think, oh, they're being an asshole, or oh, they're being negative about but it's just not, is it? Like I think you can really tell, you can just it's just everyone goes to it. It annoys me massively that people just go always to the negative.
I think also when you're born and you grow up, you're constantly being told you've got to be careful. Like we're having to teach like safety to Lucia. But I think it's almost, oh, don't run out from the road, you could get hit by a car. Like there's constantly, as you're growing up, because we live in a very artificial kind of way, being told to look after yourself and there's things you've got to take care of. And I don't know, like we were in a huge busy shopping centre with my niece today and I just said, if you got lost, go and find, like, go into a shop and ask them to tell them that you're lost, and they'll find me for you. But I think you're sort of always wanting to keep people safe, and I guess then we just learn that I don't know. It's not that that's necessarily negative, but we then start feeling, I don't know, separate. You haven't had any tea.
I know. I'm quite
I can
aware.
tell, I can tell by the
Quite
look,
aware of that.
I can tell by the look on your face.
I think I'm going to challenge myself now with like, talking about it for the next week. I'm going to go at the positive first. I'm going to try it for a week and I'll report back.
Cool. Give it a go.
Your sister's always like that because, like, most people, like, she'll crash her car and she'll be like, oh,
Oh, yeah.
who's it? Who am I going to meet? What
Yeah.
adventure is this going to take me on? Or like she'll break down in the middle of Mexico with her friends, and like they've passed a car up the road where there's people stood with guns, and they're like, "Let's go and see if they can help us." Like she's always like, "What's going to come out of this?" And
That's how Lise
it's
lives.
just how she lives. And like even when she has, I don't know, just ridiculous things happen, she's always kind of, "What's this going to bring to my life?" Like she never goes to catastrophe.
Where's this adventure taking me?
Well, I don't know. There's certain, I'd say with jobs sometimes she can go to.
Yeah, she went to
But
catastrophe, but then
generally
she's
if I-
actually had the best time ever. And she said the whole thing has been wonderful.
But it's
She's had
unlike
this
Bethany.
enormous job out in Switzerland. She makes curtains and soft furnishings and stuff like that. Little shop in Kendal. They've been working for a very wealthy person out in Switzerland, so they've had to. It's been a nightmare because they haven't been able to. They've been out to the house, measured up, flown back, made the stuff. The joiners have changed everything, so they've had to go back. And long story short, yeah, at least catastrophized about the whole thing. And I had a few conversations with her about it, saying, this hasn't played out yet. You have got no idea how it's going to play out because it hasn't played out yet. What's that saying? It'll be all right in the end. If it's not all right, then it's not the end. And you can kind of look the whole of life like that. And I know it's kind of like people go, that's not very realistic, but it fucking is. It's really realistic. You don't get broken. You're all right in the end. If you're not feeling all right, just leave it alone. It'll pass. We've just got so used to, we've lost, like that sentence that came to me. The further you go into suffering, the further into unreality you have entered. The further you go into suffering, the further into unreality you have entered. That's true. Life isn't made of fear. It's made of love, whatever it is. It's not made of fear. It's not made of anxiety. It's not made of what ifs. It's made of beauty. It's made of spectacular force. It's made of something I can never frigging qualify or quantify or understand or know. That's what life is. The further you go into suffering, the further into unreality you have entered. I needed to hear that when I heard it. Yeah, the more lost in duality we become, the more concerned we become with the external world, events, words, the more we kind of blame them for how we feel, the more lost we've actually become, the more we've entered into unreality, the more we've disassociated ourselves from the creator source being that we are. The more we don't see God in everything and everyone.
I like what you said, Dan, because you're like, for the next week, actually, I'm going to see. And what came to me is it's just a habit.
Mm.
It's just a thought habit that we get into. Like whether or not it's been conditioning, whether it's been something that we think served us at some point, but it's just a habit. And like any habit broken down, it's thought, and thought can change. So actually, like I remember saying to you about a year and a half ago that I'd started to focus on all the negatives of us living with family and feeling like we needed our own space. And that's where I focused my attention, and all of the problems seemed to get bigger. And about a year and a half ago, I was like, God, I haven't even thought about all the things I'm totally grateful for and how incredible it is that we get to do this and what it allows us to do. And with a shift of focus, it's completely changed my experience of the last year and a half back to being what it was really before having Lucia, when I don't even know why I got so negative around it, but I could see it then became a habit. But I think as soon as you notice a habit, you then have more say, like, oh, I could look at this differently. Doesn't mean you have to like work on it, but sometimes it might be right. For the next week, I'm going to catch myself and see if I can go to the positive first and just
Or
play
even
with
just
it.
catch yourself going to the negative, even
Just noticing
just
and playing
noticing.
with thought,
Oh,
I think is
look how I have a tendency. Oh, look at my tendency. My tendency is to catastrophize. How many people do that? Like go to the worst case scenario they could possibly even dream up and then think that's how it's going to turn out. But it doesn't. It just doesn't. And even if the worst does happen, you deal with it. You can deal with everything. The thing about this life is we can't see the way. We're so busy trying to find the way through life because we treat it like a journey. And we speak about it as a journey. It's not a journey. It doesn't go anywhere. It's just this here and now. The journey is part of the illusion of life. But that's why we can't see. That's why we're beings who think their security comes from the known. So anything that's unknown creates insecure feelings. So when you've got a future, which is always going to be an unknown commodity, and you are somebody who is afraid of the unknown, then the future looks like a very scary monster. But what if we don't know anything? What if the unknown is all we've ever lived in? I said this to a fellow the other day who came to do some work with us when we were back in the north. I just said to him, he was talking about what he knows. We do know stuff. I said, all right, what's that there? And pointed at a plant. He went, it's a plant. What's a plant? Right, it's an org. It's a, what do you call it? It's a living thing. What's a living thing? Something with cells and awareness or something. Before long, about 7 questions in, gone, he'd gone, me? It's me. I said, that's funny, isn't it? I said, it set off as a plant. All of a sudden, you're at me. How did you do that? He went, I don't know. I said, yeah. Who's that me? What's that me you're talking about in the first place? What's that? I don't know. Okay, so we've gone from a plant to I don't know. 7 questions in. What is a plant? What is a cell? What is an atom? What is an energy wave? What is energy? What is everything? What is it? What are we? What are we? We'll say words. No. That's just words. That's noises. That's symbols. No. Not that. It's not a noise. It's not a symbol. A plant isn't a noise. It's a thing. But what is it? You see, when you start to look down those kind of lines of inquiry, you quickly realize you know absolutely fuck all. And yet you're still all right. It's funny, the more we let go of what we think we know, the more peace we find, actually. It's our knowledge that can be our greatest ignorance. What we think we know. We never suffer what we don't know. You suffer what you think you know. Even if you think you know that you're suffering the idea that you don't know. You call this an unlearning, don't you? I think it's true. This conversation's about letting everything we know is fucking made up. It's useful on one hand. It's useful. I can find my way home because I know the way home. But it'll only take me to one place. What if I want to go to some beautiful photograph place I've seen? What if I want to go to there? My knowledge of how to find my way home is totally useless. I need to set off on a journey. I haven't got a
What
clue.
it said.
Huh? What did it say?
You can never cross the ocean until you have the courage to lose sight of the shore. It's kind of what you're talking about.
Yeah, Christopher Columbus. You can never cross the ocean until you have the courage
To lose sight of the
to
shore.
lose sight of the shore. Yeah, that. Least.
That was like today, things feel very uncertain at the minute with everything that's happened. And stop it. And I felt quite anxious today. And but I had a choir concert, and I was like, oh, I won't go. I'm just feeling anxious, and I was like, so what are you going to do? Sit round at home and mope around? But I know, but I'm feeling anxious. And I thought, wash your hair, put on your choir outfit. And I turned up and I sang. I don't know how many carols, I don't know. Yeah, I felt anxious and I was looking out on this sea of people and yeah, so the courage was, I guess, showing up and just going and dragging me. Come on, anxiety, we're going to sing. Come on, get your kit on. Off we go. um, yeah, it's just showing up and yeah, I'm just not sure how to do life at the minute. But that's like you say, it's just all
Yeah, but
um,
what's that even mean?
I know.
No, really, really, I'm not sure how to do life. What does that even mean? Is there actually think about that? Think about that sentence. Is there any common sense in that sentence? Is there any
No,
logic? Does it
no,
actually make any sense whatsoever? Like,
no.
does it make sense that, or is it a sentence that makes zero sense, but we say it?
I think it's because, well, to me, because I don't have because I don't, because the work I do is at home, so I don't have. I struggle a bit with not having structure, like going to work, doing this at this time and stuff.
But you don't do life, Lise. You don't do life. Life does you.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to, things feel uneasy and
Yeah, but
stuff at the minute.
Lise, come back, 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 come back. Life's not hard. Life's never been hard. Life's not difficult. Life's never been difficult. Life is effortless.
Ooh, the last few months have been a bit
Oh,
difficult.
no, you're talking about something different to what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Life itself is effortless. How much effort did it take you to awareness yourself to where you are now from the moment you were born? How much effort was your awareness
Oh, I don't
to
know.
live, to actually live, to be alive? I'm talking about the livingness of life itself. That's You don't have to do that. It's a standard. It's effortless. Life's not hard. You don't have to think about living. Living's just what happens. Living
Mm.
is the space from which you then get to experience. Okay.
Well,
And
like,
then what we confuse life for is the experience, which is a temporary thing. Life isn't temporary. Life's this ongoing thing, but our experiences are temporary. And this is what happens. This is akin again to the ocean mistaken in itself for waves. It's life mistaking in itself for creations. But when the moment we get fixated on the creation, we need to do something with it. But if you look, you don't need to actually do anything with life.
mm, I'm
Life
just,
itself is effortless. It's
yeah.
spiritual.
Well, what's that saying? Life is what happens while you're busy thinking about doing other things.
And say that again.
Um, Life is what happens while you're busy thinking about doing other things.
Yeah, it's always
As in,
happening. Yeah.
it just happens. And yeah, I'm trying, just at the minute, I'm trying not to, I'm just like, yeah.
What I love about your little analogy there, though, Lise, what I love about it is it shows the power, the true power that thoughts have. Because if those thoughts really did, oh, I'm just going to stay at home, I'm feeling really anxious. If they truly had the power, you wouldn't have gone to choir. So, who is it that truly has the power?
Me.
Mm. You are the ones that decide whether or not you act upon your thoughts.
Mm.
So when you look at it from that point of view, you can really, it doesn't really matter what you think. You kind of go, yes, no, no, yes, whatever. But the thoughts that people are so afraid of and they think are such a big deal, they have no power. It's you who has the power. They're like suggestions.
But I guess what I was meaning, with regard to the postcard was leaving the shore was simply today to show up and go to choir.
Yeah.
And it was great. And yeah, I felt anxious, but I still sang and I left sight of the shore, and life happened and it was 6 million animals.
Hello,
Uh,
friend.
um, yeah, it's just
And
trying to
yet
let
here
it.
you are. It still hasn't destroyed you.
No, it hasn't.
Mm.
No, and the amount of times when I think when the voice says, "I can't do this, I can't cope," and it's like, well, I think you've been doing pretty good so far because you're still here and everyone's fed, no one's dead. Um, so just yeah, just yeah, keep putting one foot in front of the other, and it will unfold. And winter will turn to spring. The bulbs are already coming up. There is hope there, and
But hope set in
I
La
know.
La Land.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. But
No,
I,
it's
I'm.
no. Look, Lise, listen, please. It's set in time which doesn't exist. It's set in the future.
Mm, mm,
It never comes. Everything that everybody we had a lady once, we were doing an intensive with her and we went to Shingle Street with her. And I love this woman. If you're watching, you know who you are. I love you very, very much. She could chatter like hell. She could chatter, a million and one questions, one after another. It was a bit like a machine gun at this point, walking on this walk. And I stopped her. We've been walking for about 20 minutes through this most beautiful pine woodland, all the sand dunes. It was spectacular, heather. I said, stop, 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 stop. She was doing my head in. Stop. I said, have you even for one moment looked at where you are? And she said, no. I said, well, do me a favor and look where you are. And I carried on walking. We carried on walking. And she stayed behind. She just stood there and she was looking around. It was 2 or 3 minutes later, she came running after us and she went, I found it. I said, what do you mean? She went, everything we're looking for is here and now, isn't it? I said, yeah,
mm.
correct. As long as we go, my happiness exists in the future. It is done unto you as you believe. Apart from there's a problem with that, the future doesn't exist. But that's just you thinking and creating that experience. But if you can let go of that idea of time, the worry you're trying to avoid is based in the future. It's based in the illusion of time. It's not real. It's impossible to worry about the future. It doesn't exist to worry about.
Mm.
Doesn't exist. You can't worry about the future. Totally impossible to worry about the future. Totally impossible to worry about something that does not exist. Doesn't exist to worry about. What you're afraid of is your own thoughts.
Mm.
Well, why? Why are you afraid of your own thoughts?
They get very dark.
But then what?
but then they don't come true.
Mm.
And I go to choir and I
Yep.
sing.
Yep. And they never did anything.
No,
They didn't have any power. People have given all their power away to their thoughts. The power doesn't lie there. It never lay there. That's why there's so much confusion. That's why people can't think their way out of their suffering. You come out of your suffering by forgetting it, by just leaving it the hell alone and just wherever you focus attention, you have an experience. You know, I'm watching your little cat lick a paw.
Buddy, and I've got Bella,
Hello, friends.
Nerd,
Look at you.
Pippin,
You're popular.
Cressy. Yeah, don't need any heating. Four dogs. If it gets cold, you just put another dog on the bed.
Put another dog on. I
Yeah.
like that. I really like that.
Yeah, everyone's fed, no one's dead. We're okay.
I like that saying. But again, it's just going back to that catastrophizing and giving all our faith to the negative or what we perceive to be negative. Why are we giving all our faith away to negativity? Why do people have more faith in the bad than the good? Why do people have more faith in the devil than God? God created the fucking devil. Light is more powerful than dark. Don't know. I know it's dark outside and I can see the light pouring out and illuminating the plants, but I don't see the dark pouring in. Dark's passive, light's active. Why do people have more faith in the dark? Something that just fucking emerges with the absence of light. But light is active, it's movement, it's illuminating. Light isn't a consequence like darkness is, but people have more faith in the darkness. Why? Why? Why would people have more faith in the dark than in the light? Makes zero sense. At least find a balance. Life is light. Effortless. Life is beautiful. Life is a miracle. Life is magical. Life is inexplicable. Life is a complete and utter conundrum. Is that the word? Quandary. What's a quandary? What's one of them?
Contradiction.
I forget I even said that word. I don't even know what the hell it means. The,
Wonder is maybe the right word.
I don't know. It's like a whole fucking question mark around it. Life is an inexplicable event. Life and death are the same thing. Life is eternal. Life is animation, the animating force. Life is the soul. Doesn't require effort. It's not hard. Don't confuse life for what it's experiencing. Be like confusing a television set for what it's showing. Or a radio for what it's playing. Fucking hate that radio. Listen to the shit it talks. No, it's not the radio. It's what's being broadcast. Change the channel. Did that work? Don't even know anymore. Yeah, just don't be so hard on life. Life's cool. Just habits, like Jen said. Beautiful thing about habit, it's just a frigging habit. It can change. I like Dan breaking his habit just before. Do you know what? I'm going to stop doing that. Reminds me of the time I quit smoking. Do you know what? I'm going to quit smoking. Do you know what? I'm going to quit drugs. You know what? I'm going to quit sniffing glue. You know what?
Did you sniff glue?
No,
Oh.
it's that thing off Aeroplane, isn't it? Who's seen Aeroplane? Picked a bad week to stop sniffing glue. Picked a bad week. You've never seen it. Oh, it's brilliant.
I've seen bits of it, I think.
It's so funny. Yeah, but it comes with a new thought.
It was nice today because I've been working with a group of rabbis, and I used to be in Finchley Road area doing stuff with the Jewish community, like every few months, for years, and like filming there, teaching there, like attending trainings there, like from 2005 until 2016, really, and then we did a bit more with iHeart in 2017. But it was really cool being back, and I don't know, the simplicity of the message and the lightheartedness that was there today, and like Charles sat in. And I think one of the things that we were talking about is he wanted to talk to me. A lot of the people he's working with are training to be rabbis, or they may have just become rabbis, but he's sharing the principles with them because their kind of role in the community, or people maybe will go to them with problems and they want to be able to help people. So he sees that this understanding is really helpful. But one of the things that was kind of brought up was that there's a lightheartedness around this conversation that you can bring to people, even who are bringing the most serious circumstances or problems. They can seem very, very serious and very, very heavy. And there's a way that you then get to bring lightheartedness to it, not in a dismissive way, but you can bring people out of the content to life, to actually that feeling of life without all of the seriousness, without all of the content. And I think noticing what happens to people when that takes place, that if for a moment the seriousness and the story collapse, they get to experience and feel a moment of presence, then they start to get fresh, new, helpful thought. And one of them at the end was wanting to know, well, can you train to be a practitioner? And if you train to be a practitioner, how do you say that you're a good practitioner? And is there continual training to check that you're, like, is really scientific? And then one of the other rabbis just said, yeah, but the thing is, you're not saying that you're an expert. You're not saying you're a doctor. You're not saying you're a psychologist. You're simply another human being showing up for people and pointing out to them how life works. And they'll learn from their own experience. And like all of his kind of like questions like collapsed. He was like, oh, like this, I don't need proof. I don't need evidence.
I don't need validating.
It's see it for myself and go out and help people and share it. It was just really,
I like that.
it was really cool. And it's interesting because I don't do that much stuff just on my own. It's normally the pair of us do things, and even at Viva often I'm paired up with someone, like on breakouts and things, but I had no thinking about going and doing a talk and working with this group, and no thinking about how I was going to get, because I got dropped off by my niece, who then took Lucia off to a shopping centre, and it all just it was one of those days that just unfolded, and then we just zipped through the traffic, and her sat nav took us on a different way, and then we didn't have to go on the A406, and we're on the M1, and it was all moving, and then suddenly it just came to a standstill. And it just added like an extra 45 minutes an hour. But both of us were just like, this is just what's happening, and didn't get all. And Leo was like, God, no, I'd normally get so stressed about this because actually I need to go back to Bury St Edmunds, pack, then go to my mum's in Clare, and then my dad's meeting me at like 7 in the morning because we're flying to Ireland. But she just, and it's like that kind of, no one was catastrophizing. And I was thinking, God, the difference if we had both sat there, I think, oh, I'm going to miss group, I'm not going to get home in time to help you. And you just start to notice in your life, like, wow, it feels really different when I do that and then when I don't do that. So it's not even a judgment thing, it's just, it feels different. And our feeling is what we get to experience in this life. Like that's the bit that really, that's the bit that guides us. That's the bit that we kind of pay attention to.
It's the visible face of thought, as you call it.
Yeah, it was just really, it's been a really nice experience. And I think like I had all these like memories coming up of all the different stuff I've done down in that area and all the different groups. And I don't know, I would have previously thought, well, I can't go and give a talk to a group of rabbis. Like, who am I to go and do that? But actually, everybody in that room was so thoughtful and sweet, and the questions they asked, and it's so human. And I think that's the beautiful thing about the principles. It is just, we're just all human beings. And I don't know, if we can help each other have a nicer time of it while we're here.
If we can learn to have a nicer time ourselves first, then you can help other people have a
But that's
nicer
what I think
time.
that's what they're doing. Like they're having like this year program where they can really immerse themselves, and they so want to help people, and like having to keep bringing them back to, but like, see this for yourself, and then you'll know what to say if someone brings this question to you. But I think it was one of the things that we were speaking about was how if someone comes to you of like a very heavy problem and you're like, oh my God, that's so awful, and like you buy into it, like we talk about that in terms of you've got two people then drowning in make-believe world. And if one person can keep their bearings and not jump in, it really helps the other person. Because actually the truth of it is that we are on this unbreakable spirit. And the more that we identify with unbreakable spirit and less with the story, then like for Lisa, you're having all that thinking today, but then you just, something else got you ready and took you to choir. Like that quieter kind of gentler space. I don't know. Maybe I'm making much sense tonight, but yeah, it was just very nice. Seeing the simplicity again. And one person asked me, well, percentage-wise, all the people that you've ever helped that have had eating disorders, percentage-wise, how many of them have got better? I'm like, wow, that's a really interesting question. Like, I don't know. And actually, what does it mean to be better? And I just said, well, actually, my focus when I'm working with someone isn't to get rid of their eating disorder. So if I had that on my mind, that's going to get in the way. If I then put that as a marker for what they've seen, that will get in the way. But actually, if I can have a moment with someone where they drop their story and they just get present and enjoy a conversation and start to learn about the principles, I know that actually their thinking will get healthier. But it was such an interesting thing because we have this idea of if something's worked and it's good, then it looks like this. And I kind of had to sit back and question, well, actually, that's not ever my agenda with someone. Like, I don't know when someone's going to hear and then put down that behaviour. but can they still have a nice life even if they're doing that behavior? Is that behavior dictating their experience? So it was a really interesting conversation about, well, actually, what is it that you're trying to do when you're working with someone? If you've got 4 days with someone, what is it you're trying to introduce them to? What is it that's happening? So it was really good for me just to get quiet and reflective,
And get asked some.
different questions. Yeah, it was really nice. And then to go from that, and it was beautiful, to like this massive shopping centre, which was dystopia. It was so big. There were so many levels, and then each level went off in 4 or 5 different directions. I was like, this is not enjoyable to me. But Lewin was buzzing from it. She absolutely loved it. So I know it's not can't be the shopping centre. And I got to go on a drop slide because we went to the soft play. That was very cool. I almost didn't do it because I got to the top and I was like, this was fun when I'm a kid, but this now looks really scary. And Lucy's like, can I go on your lap? I'm like, yeah. And then we did it and it was like, this is really good. I nearly taught myself out of it. She did it on her own in the end.
Oh, little girl.
She looked like a rag doll, but
I haven't seen her today. I've only seen her for a minute.
I'll send her down in the morning.
Oh,
It's funny, on the way home, we were only about half an hour in. She's like, it's taking a long time. I just want to get out the car now. Now. And she said that for about 10 minutes and then changed her mind and got involved with the lions and condensation and playing I Spy. But you can see the immediacy of it all. It's to be now. And that's what we get like. But actually, left alone, her mind then created some fun stuff for her to do.
there's gifts in all experience. If you're prepared to look. But it takes somebody who's prepared to consider the light to even look in the first place. So many people are tangled up in the terrible nature of it all. But if you look at all your hard times and the dystopia or whatever, like there's gifts in it. Something else we could learn. Something else we could notice. Does anybody else want to say anything? Cool, I'm going to go get my tea then. I'm starving. Thanks everybody for being here. Really, really appreciate you all being here. Thank you so much. Lise, thank you for sharing. Dan, thanks for sharing. Dave, thanks for sharing. Just really, really appreciate you all being here. Sharon, thanks for sharing. Really, really appreciate you all being here. And thank you for showing up. We really, really appreciate it. If anybody wishes to make a donation, in the link below, there is all the means by which. Best way for us is PayPal, friends and family. Just sending you all so much love. Dan, I'll be in touch.
And next week, we need to decide what we're doing. So Monday night, we've got the Christmas meal. So it's whether we do it on Tuesday.
Yeah, so next week there will be a shifting day. So, yeah.
I'll
And
put it out on
what's
groups.
happening with the retreat? How many places have we got left to just
If everybody that says they're coming comes, we've got one male space and one female space. But I'm still waiting to hear. I need 5 people that need to confirm and give deposits. So.
Yeah, okay. All right.
But still inquire just in case.
Yep.
And we will have a waiting list as well, just in case because in case someone pulls out last minute.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Love
Thank
you all.
you.
Thank you all
Thank
for
you
being
for
here.
being here.
See you
And we'll
next week.
upload the last week's video because we haven't done that yet. Been insane.
Thanks a lot.
God
Bye.
bless everyone. Thank you all.
Enjoy your tea.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye,
Cheers,
love.
Lise. Bye.